Hey, good Wednesday morning, everybody. BAM weather meteorologist Brett Waltz here, giving you our special edition of Winter Weather Wednesday. Guys, going to have an updated seasonal forecast today for you all. Chat about some key things that are changing with La Nina right now that will have a major impact on the winter season ahead. We'll kind of relate to the video that we had a couple of weeks ago where we talked about East versus Central Pacific La Ninas. We've had some key trends in that regard that I think qualify the need for an updated winter forecast. Before we get to that, guys, though, here's a quick overview of what we're going to chat about today. First, I want to talk about Helene. Right now, a tropical storm between the Yucatan Peninsula and Cuba, but going under rapid intensification right now, and likely to make landfall as a major hurricane as we work into tomorrow evening. And then we'll chat about La Nina, updated winter analogs, and then those updated December to February outlooks. Here's a current look at the satellite imagery for Helene. And guys, I would just say over the past couple of hours even, the structure of this storm has gotten a lot more impressive. There are signs that it may be starting to undergo rapid intensification. Certainly think that we'll get to a hurricane by the time we work throughout the day today. You can see here our updated forecast. I wouldn't be 100% shocked if by the time we get into this evening, if we are all the way to a 2. I definitely think that we are a 1. If we're a 2, then we'll need to be watching out for this to maybe even be a high in 3 or 4 as we make landfall. So I really think the next 12 hours or so is going to be a key time frame for this storm and how strong it can actually end up getting. For now, based off what we are seeing, I think a Category 3, potentially a high-end Category 3, going to be the likely scenario for landfall. And you can see kind of just southeast of Tallahassee here is where we're going to expect the landfall for this storm. I also have storm surge on this map. The right side of the storm is typically where the worst of the storm surge is going to be. Your winds are going to be pushing from the south. It's going to blow a lot of those waters, a lot of those ocean waters right into the shore, and so 12 plus feet of storm surge possible in this particular region. And even for the Tampa Bay area, could have some storm surge issues 6 to 9 feet as you get a lot of these strong winds to push into the bay. And so a very impactful storm, both with storm surge and of course with winds. Category 3 storms, 111 to 129 mile per hour winds. There'll also be some heavy rain with this as well. Here's a look at just kind of the simulated wind field right before this makes landfall as we work into tomorrow afternoon. This is by about 4 or 5 o'clock tomorrow. This will be working pretty straight northward into the Florida Panhandle or right along the Big Bend, kind of right on that curve. As we go into tomorrow afternoon, will be a very, very strong storm. Major impacts to be expected along the Gulf Coast there. In terms of rainfall, we'll likely be producing a pretty widespread swath of 6 inches plus of rain, and then it will actually interact with the Appalachians in here, and you're going to be looking at some spots in eastern Georgia, and then kind of along the border of North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee here that could be picking up 10 plus inches of rain, and then heavy rainfall working inland into parts of Tennessee, along the Ohio River. If anything, guys, I wouldn't be shocked if maybe this is a little bit overdone along the I-70 corridor. The north side is probably the biggest uncertainty. How far north does the rain work? But some beneficial rains, given the increasing drought conditions across Kentucky, Tennessee, parts of Missouri, as we go over the next several days. With all that being said, let's talk about our La Nina. And I'm noticing key trends in where the coldest waters are setting up right now below the sea surface. And so sometimes you can kind of get a look at what is going on below the actual surface, down deep, 100, 200 meters, to get an idea of how La Nina may evolve. Back in early August, you can see all of these colder waters were pretty far east, 140 to 120 west or further east than that. But if we take a look at the latest signal that we have here as of September 20th, note how the coldest waters are all at or west of 140 west. And so the core of the La Nina in the subsurface is shifting to the west. And we're starting to see that reflect at the actual sea surface, which is very important for our winter pattern. Here's how things were back at the start of the month. You can see the coldest waters, the below normal temperatures, were close to South America, east of 120 west in general. Now, if we take a look at the latest update, these coldest waters are actually west of 120 west. And you can see that in here. They're between 180, the date line, and 120. And that's a huge change. And it is a big implication for the pattern ahead. If we take a look, here are what East Pacific La Niñas typically look like. Your coldest waters are normally in this region in here, further to the east, compared to your Central Pacific La Niñas, which are typically west of 120 in this region in here. And so the trend is in this direction as things stand right now. If we also take a look at some of the latest data as we go into the winter time, I put a red line here to kind of give you all an idea. East of that would be more of an eastern-based La Niña. West of it is more of a central-based La Niña. You can see both of these models in here have the coldest waters along or west of this line, which is a trend towards a Central Pacific La Niña. If you watched our video a couple of weeks ago, we talked about an East Pacific La Niña, which is where we were, favors more cold shots in winters. Can favor snowier winters, colder winters, more polar vortex and blocking events, while Central Pacific La Niñas don't typically have that. If we take a look at what these would indicate into winter, December can still be cold. This is the month that I think, regardless of the La Niña type, has the potential to be colder than normal. You can even see with these Central Pacific La Niñas, higher pressure near Alaska and warmth, higher pressure and warmth in Greenland. It can force down some colder air in the month of December. That changes into the new year, though. We look at January and February, and a lot of this colder air is locked up to the north. You can kind of see it stuck over here, Alaska, northern Canada, Greenland, and it allows for warmth to develop across the eastern half of the United States. If we take a look on top of that at some reworked analogs that we looked at, this is kind of a combination of those Central Pacific La Niñas and some of the other factors, oceanic temperatures in the Pacific, QBO, solar activity, polar vortex signals. We look at all of these, and they're warm overall. And I think that we get progressively warmer throughout the winter. These right here would indicate much above normal temperatures down across the southern tier of the U.S. and the Northeast. But at times, especially early in the winter, some colder air can dip into these regions in here. If we take a look, guys, at the overall winter analogs and the height setup, one thing that I will note with this, there is a tap to some colder air over the Hudson Bay. I think that if we were to get some kind of a polar vortex disruption, this setup could favor at times some more notable cold shots. Obviously, these analogs don't support anything necessarily extended, but the availability of some cold being there would at least help that at times it can actually feel like winter compared to, say, last winter, which was pretty much warm the entire winter. And again, I think the tendency for this will be greater early in the season. And we reflected this with our December outlook. December right now, we still favor to be a cold month. Colder, maybe snowier. I think that's on the table for December. But we progressively get warmer into the new year. Can some cooler air and some cold shots linger around early January? I don't think that's impossible. But the further we work into January and into February, the warmer the signals get with the pattern. And we reflected that with our updated winter outlook here. Below normal temperatures across parts of Canada, that's kind of where that cold air will want to sit. Warmer air south and east, especially as the winter goes on. Guys, that is our latest winter forecast update. In the coming weeks, we'll have more snow analogs, more details on that. But for now, that's what we have for today. Be sure to like and share this video. I hope you all have a great day.